So Deep Look is all about telling the stories of animals that usually don't get a lot of attention. And water striders are definitely one of those. I'd never seen a film about water striders before. So for this one, it was just an idea. I'd always wondered how water striders are able to stay on the surface and not fall through, because they have those skinny little legs that just look like pencil lead, and you would think they would poke right through. So whenever we have an idea for an episode, it'll often start with a question like that, like how do water striders stay on top of the water? But that's not really a full story. That's more just like an idea, a subject. So the hard part will be turning that into something that has a beginning, middle, and end. And so that's pre-production, is doing the research to answer that, to write a pitch that's going to tell the rest of the team what the viewer is going to see, the whole story arc, things like that. We don't know the details, maybe all the details when we first start off, but we need to have an idea of exactly what the episode's going to look like overall before we go out and start shooting. So for that one, for that episode about water striders, I did a bunch of research about surface tension, because it's really a story about surface tension of the water. And then I found this researcher at Georgia Tech who studies the tiny little hairs that coat the legs of the water striders. And it's those hairs that are hydrophobic, they don't get wet, that allow the water striders to stand on the surface. If they didn't have those hairs, their legs would just go right through. So the team, I should say, is I'm the lead producer and cinematographer. We have a coordinating producer who also does stories, but a big part of it is deciding who's going to have their edit session here, who's going out on which shoots when. It's a lot of keeping the trains running on time. For a lot of these shoots, it's just me in the field, or it's me and one producer. So a very small team. I use light equipment that I can carry on my back in general. And for this one particularly, it was just sitting in creeks and waiting for, whenever you come splashing into the creek, the water striders scatter. So you have to like chill out for a while, and then they start to come back and do their thing. And for me, a big part of my shooting style is getting the camera real low, like right next to the water. It's always a challenge for me to like keep my camera dry. So I'll often have the tripod in the water right up to the surface, and then the camera just sitting right on top of that. Water striders, they do this sort of rowing, like rowing a boat, and you can't really see it just with your eye. You have to slow it down to really see how they do it. They basically have feet out in front and feet in back, and then the middle feet on either side they use like oars to row. So the front and back feet just hold them up, and then the middle ones actually do the pushing. So it was a bunch of just being in creeks and waiting for these water striders will sort of hang out in like the calm little parts of the creek. I was able to capture a few and take them and put them in a petri dish with a little bit of water, and then that sort of restrained them to one area, and then film them with both the macro lens and also a microscope, so that you could really see all the hairs on the legs. We bring all the footage back. We usually shoot a couple hours worth of footage in the field for like a 3-minute piece. Bring it back, save all the footage off into our system. We log everything, so we go through and say this shot was good, it's of this shot was bad, this shot is good, it's of something else, wide shot, tight shot, frontal or macro shot. And then the producer, in this case me, will write the first draft of the script and send it to the team. But yeah, a big part of it was just the patience of waiting for that to happen. They're a pretty agreeable subject, honestly. The hard part was probably showing the science of how. So there's one question is how they float, or how they are able to walk on water. The other one is how they're able to move. Because if you think about like they're on this frictionless surface, how do they propel themselves forward? And a big part of that is that they'll dip their middle legs down into the water and create sort of a divot, and then they push against the side of that divot. Putting yourself in that situation, it would be hard to do in print. Whereas with the camera, with the music and everything, and the narration, you can really sort of enter that world of the water strider.